traffic by building more and more lanes. We've got to find ways of getting people on higher volume transit trains, and so essentially that was one of the reasons why we looked at the Monterey Corridor, was because the city of San Jose was proposing this as a transit corridor.
Yeah, it just seems like
San Jose proposed this.
Yes, city of San Jose proposed reducing the number of lanes in Monterey.
Regardless of whether
It's more efficient because you get rid of the bottlenecks. And then you have to sync the lights, obviously, so you can move more traffic through.
That's interesting.
and if it's video. It just seems that this was a I'm gonna play the video. I'm gonna
So much video.
Stop
So this is just a different angle. Again, the existing condition.
From the other side.
From the other side, yeah.
Sort of circles around coming from the other side.
Edenvale Library right there.
A little bit, in the evening now, so you get rid of the shadows, you can sort of get an idea of the height of the viaduct down the median there.
I'm not gonna pause.
So again, this is just from the open light, sort of looking across the ground. You can sort of see the actual depressed Monterey now.
So there are walls in that viaduct.
There's some big walls.
There's walls on the viaduct.
There are walls so our workers don't fall off, and if sound walls are necessary, they would be up to 10 feet high.
And like I said, I can send you links, you can look at it closely at home. And that's what I really want to know. You can compile your questions, you have my address, my email address.
Send them to Greg and he'll put them out through the LPNA.
That's gonna get me. Actually, Greg, you already have them. I think you already have them.
Have what?
The links to the video, I sent you guys a thank you email and.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys have the links.
I'll share it again.
Okay. You have them too, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Matt.
So just to let you know which ones where you want to go. So these ones are the largest scale, and it pretty much goes from Banal here, and Metcalf is just here. So this really sort of covers Banal to Metcalf, largest scale, the three configurations, and here's the visual simulations that we've prepared that will be going in our visual analysis tech report. At the back, they're slightly longer extent. The first map is north of Blossom Hill and goes to just north of Branham. I know it doesn't go all the way to Skyway, John, sorry, but that's as far as it goes. Then the other three, so the one on the left shows alternatives 1, 2, and 3 in that one geographic extent. And then the other ones, the extent is from Blossom Hill to just south of Metcalf, alternative 2, 1, and 3, and alternative 4, each sort of in that sort of 4.5 mile section. But this is sort of like where we are. So if you want to look at this one, or you can look at that.
Yeah, and I know we probably won't have time to look at everything, so these maps are for you. I'm leaving them for Amy and Greg. However you want to read them, you can scan them, you can take photos of them, share them however, but they're for you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So maybe just for this orientation here. So generally all these maps, the way they work is you've got about 2 miles in here.
Come closer.
What you've got here is sort of just
What is that?
so this is Banal. Okay. Right here. So down Monterey, Flowery Hill, Metcalf is just about here. What this is just sort of a typical section, sort of as much representation as we can, of the entire corridor. It actually has a little marker where it's taken.
That's all right.
And some vary more. So I'll start at the bottom since you'll do alternative 1 and 3 first. So again, this is running down Monterey reconfigurations that are shown in red behind it. And then down below here, this is what is a profile. There's a grid here. So, each one of the big squares is 50 feet. So it's in here. You can see this is, 85, maybe 90 feet high, because it has to clear Banal and also 85 up here.
Does everyone know what a profile is?
The height of the
Yeah.
So it's like looking in.
So if you remembered in the picture where you saw the columns, each one of these is a column. And then the dark line here is where the track is. So on top of that, you have the train, the wires, and then the poles. The poles are about 24 feet high, and they're spaced about 150 feet apart.
Can you explain what the different colors mean? Because I was trying to look at it earlier and I couldn't make any sense out of it.
Okay, and we don't actually have the legend. When we have the full plan set, you'll actually have the legend.
That would help.
Yeah, that's on the plan sheet about 50 sheets before. So, yeah, there's a lot on here because it's trying to show everything at once. If you do sort of follow the sheet, generally they are labeled, but the big thick black lines are the center line of the northbound and southbound tracks. So that's where the high-speed rail will be. The blue line is the width of the structure, and then you can sort of see there's the outline of the width of the structure is 43 feet wide, which when it gets that way, I can show you here. So
The color there.
this is the black line right here. This is the blue line on the edge.
So that's up in the air,
That's
not
up
around.
exactly. And then if you look really closely, you'll sort of see a little square and a circle, and that's representing the foundation underneath. So
The pillar.
the pillar is the little circle, it's actually quite a big circle, and then the square is the foundation.
Oh.
Just so you know, I mean, this column, because of the seismic and the height, this column is 12 to 16 feet in diameter, so they're big. And this is about 50 feet. So this is not small. With the speed that high-speed trains go, we have very high stiffness requirements, which creates a very large structure given the proximity of the various faults. To get the structure stiff enough, it gets big. We are looking at other ways to modify that, such as seismic isolation. So you put the money up here and not all in the foundation, but that at least gives you a scale of what this is looking like.
Would we have homeless encampments around the foundation here?
This is in the middle of Monterey.
They're gonna hang shower heads off these columns.
Well, I jokingly actually said it's actually right here where we're going to hang the Hyper-Loop. It's in the middle of Monterey. We would be looking to landscape it. I mean, the simulation just showed it as just plain red. I would hope we would see some opportunity for sort of doing some surface treatment, BMP, some native landscaping in there. But honestly, that doesn't pick the alternative. That's something that we'll be developing
Who
later.
owns that though? Who's gonna own that garbage that's out there?
Well, that is going to be back when we were looking, doing the visual design guideline, we were looking at this street would still be maintained by the city.
Can I just clarify? This is smack dab in the middle of Monterey, is what we're looking at here, is
Yes.
that correct? So, do you know there's just Cape Barrier there, or are you
We
going to
are
go and
rebuilding Monterey to do this. This isn't going in the median of the, it's not going in the existing median.
Okay.
We are rebuilding
How
Monterey
are you going to widen that to give it to you?
because if you look, if you start seeing this, as we come in this area, the road and the sidewalk goes right up against where the existing sound is.
You don't knock out any homes here?
Not for the viaduct.
No, right.
Okay, well, I just wonder because, you're sitting in your kitchen washing your dishes, you look up, I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
There is that. I mean, again, it varies because when we've done this, one of the first things we always hear is like taking home, taking businesses is, pretty much people's number one concern. But yes, so we develop an alternative that doesn't take us home. That means those people are still there.
We probably must
Right,
go
but
and just
this-
build a complex.
Well, yeah,
Are you serious?
because this drops the value of those homes significantly. There are not people that are going to want to.
So there is a taking anyway, it's a taking of value.
We will have our community owned housing. We'll have right-of-way people there. The change in value of the homes is beyond my ability to assess.
Okay.
Sure.
The home value is incredibly speculative and is hugely dependent on multiple variables. So I'm not going to go down that path. No, there's a potential that with the improved, often with improved access, improved transit, it can improve value for houses because people want to go there. But I'm not saying it will, but and you have to make your own judgments as
Well,
well.
except that there isn't a high-speed rail stop.
Yeah,
Walk out your back.
5 miles on the road.
Amy pointed out a nice photo too.
Yeah, it's
beautiful. So this is Avenida Rotella.
It'll be sufficiently
right?
deep,
And
so
that's
it
the high
gets utilities,
speed
but it's
above it.
fine.
But I don't see the wall there, Tom.
Because the.
Yeah, I don't think that one actually has to
build-
above the wall.
it's a-
But the wall
it's
would
like
be,
10 feet.
and the wall would be.
Yeah, but I thought, I mean, again, this is just a generic one.
The wall's gonna be this wall's not showing.
The
Oh,
wall
the
is
whole,
tiny
just, we've
compared
got
to the
multiple
spin
conversations
above.
going
No,
on.
but I heard that when you have this big thing, you're gonna have a 10-foot wall to hide the noise and everything.
That's it is, but that is it needed.
Oh, that's a must.
And not only that, that's why we want
It's a
to 10
choice,
feet.
it's your choice. As a sound wall, when we do this, we will identify in our study, what the noise impact is, and, in an area where you've got dense urban housing, there's usually enough impacted residences that would justify the building of the sound wall. So we would identify the extent of where that sound wall is affected, but it would be up to all the residents to decide if they want that sound wall.
Oh, so you're gonna play
So-
that game.
No, if you want it, if you want it, people might not want it, they might want the
I just wanna know, the sound wall on the side that's going up, or you saying?
No, it'd be on the bottom.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be on the ground. It's a mile.
Okay, sound it all.
I think the focus right now
Very-
is this whole.
We are leaving in that.
Yeah,
Hold on, sorry, my
One at a
English is not that good.
My only point is that, 1 and 2 is not the preferred term. You haven't decided which is the preferred alternative.
But you're leaning towards one of these four right now.
Why the summer?
But you're leaning, you just said one.
In July, we will tell you in July.
We'll tell
I
you.
know, but right now you got them leaning.
We will tell you in July.
Yeah.
There's
You
still
just slipped and said that.
Yes.
How far does it sound? You just slipped and said that.
We leave the earthquake area. How big earthquake can you tell?
This is designed to be in service within 24 hours after maximum credible earthquake, which in this area is something approaching 10 on the Richter scale. Massive. That's why these structures are so
It's
massive.
not anything.
That's better.
So pretty much close to a 10 on the Richter scale, and we're looking to have our viaduct back in service within 24 hours.
Wow. On that scale, they-
George.
San Jose won't be here, but our train will be standing.
No, your house will collapse, the train will slip.
I'm not in trouble, man. I'm just saying that.
Okay, that will be in the noise. I mean, project, he has those t-shirts, he's a high school. So, yeah, when, if the train comes through at about 150, it's about 90 dB. And then, it attenuates over the distance, ask away, and, when you get to about 1,000 feet, you're down to sort of, I would say 70, which is sort of daytime, 70 dB. And generally, a neighborhood at night is 60. And when we do our sound analysis, we put a 10 dB penalty on it for all the trains that operate at night, because we know sound just travels, people are more sensitive to sound at night, and we do that in our analysis. And the analysis will have the noise contours to show the level of the sound as it goes out, and we essentially follow the Federal Railroad Administration evaluation criteria of what counts as moderate and severe impacts.
How does that compare with the trains that are currently running?
It is different. I mean, our trains will go faster, they have a more aerodynamic noise, but they go by in like 5 to 10 seconds. So the way the analysis is, and it's with like freight trains, with alternatives 1, 2, and 3, we're dedicated, there'll be no horn noise. We won't be blowing any horns. So that's the big difference. Generally, the horn noise is what people hear.
We won't have that around here.
Well, high-speed train, it will not be the track. I mean, these, even though these will be, they will be maintained to run at 220. It's not a track noise. It is essentially above about 100 miles to 150 miles an hour. It is sort of the electric generators in the train. Once you're over 150, it's the aerodynamic noise from the panic.
And less vibration.
Much less.
Alternative.
But just one question, I mean, a freight train is typically about, without horns, it just goes by, it's about 85, but then when you have the horns, it's 95, I think about 114 is the cap on the horn.
Okay, so they're 85, that was another thing. Versus 90 for the high speed.
And the difference is it's 85 for the duration of the train, so it's a longer time where it's a high, so it's a balance. We have
Because I can hear the freight train now, so now I can judge what they expect.
Yes, that's why we have a sound,
More
sort of
interesting.
an equivalent to this. Amy, you had a question?
Yes, so, and I should know this from coming to the meeting, but when you guys put out your preferred alternative, are you done studying the rest of the alternatives? You're just gonna focus on that one, is that right?
No, that's actually not right.
That's what I wasn't
So
sure.
maybe I can just, I don't want to talk Joseph's, sorry, you haven't talked about these yet. But these are the visual simulations that are, capturing the views in the area. Above here is the key map. The different colors really are what we call the sort of the landscape units. The sort of little numbers in the back is on the legend, it's like residential, commercial, whatever else. The black dots relate to the viewpoint with a triangle indicating the direction. So sort of in this vicinity, 14, which is this one, just sort of shows the configuration of Monterey. The closest one right here is the one on Bernal, but it's actually taken on Avenida from the sort of the residential side. So you really can only, it's just the way it is. The city wanted us to do a residential street in the area, that's just the one they picked. But all you can see is on alternative 1 and 3, from the street you see the viaduct
This is
up
a
above.
house, just so you understand that. So there's a house with, there's a sound wall, and then
Yes.
there's
Yes. Well, actually, no, then there's Monterey 2 lanes, and then there's
two big things.
then there's five. So that's why, so that's where it is. It looks like that, but
What's the height of that? That's up on the right.
yes, I mean, we're down at Bernal.
So that's not 90 feet there, that's like.
Down,
Yes, it is.
But that's very close to the
Yeah, so here. So right now, I mean, there's
That
grade,
picture right
that's,
there.
it's 80 feet in the air.
80 feet.
No,
That's not 90 feet.
That's not 90.
That can't be
That's
80
something
feet in the air.
That's 80 feet.
You've got to remember, you're standing on the street and it's a slope up. That is 80 feet up in the air.
Because it's also two away, so it looks shorter.
Yes, it looks, it's not right behind this house here. You've got,
Now, you come to my house, I'll feed you
And
your
Amy,
food.
don't you look like
And
that?
I'll be saying to my backyard, and you
With a
show
tape
me
measure.
where 90 feet is.
Yeah, but that's
Because I won't tell you.
but that's not the backyard, this is on the street.
Do you know how deep a California lot is? Do you understand this?
100 feet.
I can look right here and see it, yes. I promise you, when this is done, we have a simulation, they put it in, they actually put the CAD drawing in this thing and then draw on top of it.
Really? So
Yes.
you're saying from this street to here is probably about maybe 200 feet at the most?
Right.
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
And this, an 80-foot,
So all you have to do is try it.
I'm,
We've got
You
to
know-
figure out, we can do the translation.
the only thing I want to say is 80 feet is 8-story building.
Close.
Yeah.
Seven.
Okay, but that's 80 with the track, or 85 with the track is, then you got another 10, 15, whatever it is. I'm not a person that causes trouble, I'm really easygoing guy. I'm sorry, I have a hard time believing that that's, 9 or 10-story building like that. It's gonna be more up
Well,
there.
we'll agree
But
to disagree.
that's my 2
but
cents
Do
worth.
take me up on my offer for dinner, so.
But then I'd have to disclose it as a gift. That's more paperwork than this worth, I'm sorry, but I'm sure you do it really well.
So you're in the middle of answering my question though.
Sorry.
So when you put out the preferred, you're gonna continue to study other
Well, okay.
alternatives.
So we are studying all 4 alternatives right now, all to the same level.
Right.
Okay. Because of the executive orders, the goal is to be able to focus the environmental process and answer people's questions. We are now mandated to identify what we believe to be the preferred alternative in the draft document. Each alternative has been analyzed to the same level. Once we put the draft document out, we're actually done doing analysis unless a comment or, we get a comment during the public comment says, you missed something, we go, you're right, we did. And then we might do, but if that happens, we would have to do the same for all the alternatives. Until the final decision is made in November, all the alternatives have to be considered equally. The one caveat I would give to that is what may happen is, somebody might say, well, I like a little bit of this one over here and a little bit of that one over there. And so they say, well, can't you do this to that? And we'll end up with what is a hybrid. And so we may end up doing, if there is a mix and match, which has a lot of support, that makes a lot of sense, we would then most likely take the components of that, make sure that either the analysis encompasses that new envelope, the hybrid, but if it doesn't, we would then maybe need to do some additional analysis for that hybrid to bring it up to the same level. Let's say, we went at grade here, but then we went viaduct as we get down because of the wildlife corridor. What we really haven't evaluated is that transition, that embankment. There would be a section that goes from grade on an embankment, and that we haven't evaluated. So we have to look, is that captured in the existing analysis, or would we need to do a little bit more? We'd have to do some drawing to show people. So it would be bringing everything to the same level, but, part of the reason why we spent so long is, following all the CEQA NEPA guidelines, everything is going to be analyzed to the equal level in the document. The preferred alternative sort of does a couple of things. One, there's a lot of information. It does show a focus. If you've only got time to look at one, that's what you want to look at. The other thing is on the downside. The idea is by identifying the preferred alternative in the draft, if that preferred alternative remains the preferred alternative, we can then accelerate and get the final document out quicker so we can move forward. Right now, given the governor's plans and the project update report where everything is getting focused in the valley through 2028, it most likely means we aren't going to be turning around and building it right away. We can do other things. So, it doesn't maybe have quite the same value as it had before. When we were looking at early service here, I think it was very beneficial to identify as early and keep it moving. The priorities have shifted again, but that's still the process. My feeling is I think it does help identifying the preferred alternative. We are looking at everything equally. Yes, the conversation tends to be around preferred alternative.
And I know in the CWGs, many of us have also asked you guys to like the trench option. Is that, I don't see it here, and I know it hasn't really been discussed. Is it off the table? Is it?
It is not in our environmental document. It is identified that it has been asked for. We have looked at it. We looked at it with the city. The trench in down the Monterey and the standards that we have, it's almost as expensive as a tunnel, and it adds an additional $1 billion. So we've identified it. We said, it's most likely an environmentally superior alternative because it avoids a lot of the impact, but given that additional cost, it is not feasible because it goes beyond our funding constraint. So it is an environmentally... So we have actually identified is, yes, it would be a viable alternative, and if somebody could give us a big, huge chunk of money to supplement our funding, yes, it's something that we could do, but it's not in our document.
I'll have trouble buying it.
Yeah. I think I just took it, so don't worry about it.
You just
Just one.
Wait, yes.
Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry.
So-
Go ahead, John.
There is a major flaw in what you just said. I want to just say, group, we, the leadership, have sent letters requesting trench because it avoids all these horrendous impacts. It achieves the grade separations that everybody's asked for. You don't have to compress Monterey, or by the way, most of the central utilities for the city are in Monterey. So if they start moving Monterey, all those things change. And the letter we got back from, I guess it's your boss, Boris, said, oh, by the way, you guys, you missed the period when you could have brought this up, the alternative selection. And we're all like, what happened? So all we're asking for, and we cannot for the life of us understand why we don't study it. Now, a little extra cost in the context of this project